Welcome to this session of the 2025 Northwest Interlibrary Loan and Resource Sharing Conference. Today's date is September 9th, 2025. This session is titled Accessibility Roundtable and will be presented by Libby McKeighen, Deb Singer, and Miriam Wnuk. Sorry. My name is Melissa Perez, and I am the convener for this session. Please let us know if you can't hear or can't see the shared screen. This session is being recorded with permission from the presenters. We plan to make these recordings available once captions have been added. Expect an email from Hoover when the recordings have been posted about 3 weeks after the conference. We will take questions at the end of the session from the room and from virtual attendees on Hoover. Our virtual colleagues should post questions to the Hoover Q&A tab, and don't forget to upvote your favorites. After the session, please complete the survey to enter our prize drawing, which is open to all attendees. If anyone in the room is logged into Hoover, please remember not to start this presentation on your device. And now I will turn the session over to our presenters.
Welcome to the Accessibility Roundtable. In this session, you'll hear 3 short presentations about ways we're doing accessibility in our libraries, and then we'll open it up to the floor to hear what you're doing. I'll start us off with how to achieve a dark mode when using Alma Resource Sharing and Rapido, even when Ex Libris Clarivate doesn't offer that as an option. My name is Deb Singer, and I'm the Resource Sharing Coordinator for Borrowing at Brandeis University, located in Waltham, Massachusetts, on the ancestral lands of the Massachusetts and Pawtucket people. We do resource sharing for Rapido with all our other systems running through that interface. That means that when I suffered a concussion last year, suddenly the bright white background of Rapido became an incredible source of pain, and I had to find a workaround. I needed a dark mode, or the ability to switch around the colors on my screen so that the background was black while the text was white. The Ex Libris user community has been asking for a dark mode since at least 2019. Ex Libris promised in November 2020 that it was on the roadmap. But we still don't have an official dark mode. We asked for it again this year during the curve process, and Ex Libris essentially said, "This would take a lot of work. Here's what you can do instead." Well, I've been doing the instead for most of a year now. Here's my insight into the ups and downs of the options I've tried as a Windows user. Windows keeps their dark mode settings under color filters, which can be found under accessibility. Honestly, I just open settings and search for it. Invert is Windows' version of dark mode. It affects your entire system, so if you've customized your taskbar, your email, or anything else to have a black background, that will turn white when you use invert. It does what it says. Inverts any color to its opposite on the color wheel. I don't recommend keeping it on during Zoom meetings because everyone is going to look really weird. If you're working with a computer that essentially has default settings and you want to make it accessible, say, for a student worker, this is probably your best bet. It's easy and doesn't involve installing anything extra. For me and my post-concussion brain, however, that teal label and that white sidebar are a bit too much. Grayscale invert is essentially the same as invert, but does away with the colors. For someone particularly sensitive to bright colors, it's a good option. However, it does away with all the color indicators. If you're checking whether an item is available, as we do when our self-owned mediation rule pops up, you'll have to pay extra attention since both available and unavailable items show as the same shade of gray. Again, it affects everything running on your computer, so turn it off for Zoom or prepare for weird faces. Dark Reader is an extension for multiple web browsers, though I've only used it with Chrome and Firefox. They request a one-time payment of $10 for individuals or a yearly payment of $20 for organizations, but if you don't have the money, you can use it for free. Dark Reader only works with your browser, so if you want to invert the rest of your computer, you'll have to change things separately. However, it is the option I found most useful for myself personally. Dark Reader manages to seek the white background and make it dark, without also flipping anything already dark to light colors. It leaves images alone, so Rapido's native color indicators remain as intended. You can also change the brightness and contrast settings, though I haven't played with those. Unfortunately, Dark Reader has some bugs. On my work PC, Dark Reader works fine in Alma Rapido. However, on my home computer, when I'm trying to manually add a partner to the rota, I get a solid black rectangle instead of the resource sharing partner list. It also sometimes, though not often, fails to convert black text to white on other websites, so unless you know to look for it, you wouldn't know that it's there. If something looks off, I generally deactivate Dark Reader, grumble, do whatever I need to do, and turn Dark Reader back on. If you don't want to do that, Dark Reader may not be for you. Or maybe you won't hit the bugs, who knows? They're not related to the version of Windows the PC is running or the browser, so I can't predict anything. For Windows users, these are the options as far as I've seen. If anyone has any other methods they prefer, I'd love to hear about them. Next, we'll hear from Miriam.
It's a great way. Like, can people hear us? Okay, so hi, I'm Miriam Wnuk. I am unaffiliated, but I guess you could say I'm Northwest ILL, formerly Vanderbilt. And I'm, for my little bit about accessibility, I'm going to be talking about video as documentation. So my background includes, while I have a Master of Library and Information Science, I also have a background with a Master of Education. And one of the things that I know about is making sure that my documentation isn't just words. So I'm going to be talking about the two pieces of video that I have used. So I like to have a little table of contents here. So why make a video? The two tools that I've been using and the pros and cons of making a video. So first up, the why make a video? So documentation for simple tasks. So I first started making videos for documentation for specifically for our student employees at Vanderbilt for training them how to print the pool slips for our department. And it was like, it's really simple. I really don't want to take 30 minutes to write a document on how to do this, but I can record myself with like 3 minutes, less than that, of how to find the spot on Iliad to print this. So I made a video and supplied that to them. This is where the print button is, which takes me to point number 2, quick and dirty instruction. Very quick, very easy, audio visual, and it doesn't take long, especially if you're not wanting to edit it and make it super pretty. It also expands documentation to an additional learning style. There are those people in which English is not their first language, so reading English might not be the easiest way for them to bring that form of information in. They may also have a harder time seeing a smaller print. Also, printing paper potentially is a waste of paper, or losing paper. Documentation updates constantly. or who just find it easier to listen to something or watch something than to trying to like go through the page and find, I know it's here. I also found it very interesting when making documentation for video that, as we all know, interlibrary loan, some parts of it are very paper-based and you can have video screenshots, but I also found some videos programs allowed me to videotape myself. So I was able to like do one item and have it like partially done. So I was able to be like, here's this step and hold it up to the camera and show how it looked. So it really allowed for a lot more of a multi-level information steps. The two tools that I have used myself are Loom and ScreenPal, and I'll go a little bit into each of those tools. So the first one I learned about, now I see what I was being told about how things weren't working quite well for some reason. It's just, okay. So Loom is the first one I learned about. And with Loom, if there is a free version, it allows you to have up to 25 free videos. They can be up to 5 minutes long. It does provide you with transcription in up to 50 languages. You have to share a link. You cannot download it. And you can sign in with a Gmail or other common IDs that you may have. The downloads, again, the negatives here. You cannot download, and there's very minimal editing available to you in the free version. I have never used the paid version, so I can't even tell you what's on the other side of that. So there's that. In ScreenPal, formerly known as Screencast-O-Matic, I say the formerly, when I was in grad school 15 years ago or so, something like that, it was called Screencast-O-Matic. I was like, wait, this looks really familiar. Did it was called something else? I looked it up. Yes, certainly it was. So the free version allows unlimited recordings, up to 15 minutes long. And you can record your screen and yourself at the same time. So again, going back into that, it's like a screen-in-screen situation, and the files are downloadable. And that's a really great thing. At Vanderbilt, we used Teams, and within Teams, I started a Teams sub-channel that I just called Video Library. And within the team, I just started making little videos on how to do copyright, how to process incoming borrowing, that type of thing. And as I made videos, I downloaded the file and put it into our internal Teams video library. And this way, people can just reference them whenever they need to, and they're right there in Teams versus having to go find it in SharePoint or their inbox or whatever it may be. So they lived right there. I also learned, because I originally was using Loom, and I went and asked the library IT people, hey, can we get Loom? They said, actually, we have a subscription to ScreenPal. And I was like, oh, really? So a lot of institutions have a license and also single sign-on. So if you're interested in this, there's a very good chance that your institution may already have a license to this. I did have a link on here about, and did I put it on the other one too? I did not. I meant to. About the what's available on the different ones. But the ScreenPal is the one that I got to use the most at Vanderbilt because we had a single sign-on available. And I still have access to it, even though I no longer work at Vanderbilt. But none of the things that I made with my single sign-on, it's all the stuff that I made when I was a grad student. Funny enough. So the pros of making videos. So it provides an audiovisual instruction when an instructor is not available. So this was really great with student employees or succession planning. Easy review for simple processes that are done rarely. So maybe something you maybe do every 4 months, every 6 months, and you're like, oh, this is annoying to do. I forget how to do this every single time. You do it and you go, okay, maybe I'll make a video of it this time. Faster documentation to create than written. And it's more accessible for those with shorter attention spans, limited shared language skills. And it's a lot more dynamic than paper. And it's for recording with limited video length. I like to say it cuts down on your rambling. If you're a rambler, videos will teach you to be less of a rambler. I definitely caught myself with that. And but the cons are, over time, files can become corrupt. You can't assume that making a video is going to be the end all be all. So even if you make a video, you're going to want like a print documentation. Two people's screens can be arranged differently, so information can be in different locations. As we all know, if you're an ILLiad library, you can personalize where your information is on your screen. So I always preface when I talk about things in ILLiad, this is where it is on my screen. Yours may look different. Not all tasks can be created into a video. If they don't happen at a computer. That was some of the things that I couldn't make a video of, where it was like, the next step happens in the real world. Please see written documentation. And processes can become out of date regularly. So you may have to make new videos on the regular, or if you've added new things or changed processes or added new programs. And that's all I have on my side, but there's a reason why we have this lead-in, because the next one feeds from this one.
Yes, and I'm actually going to be sitting over here and using this microphone. Green is on, right? Can everybody hear me both online and in person? Can you hear me online? I'm going to be typing and talking at the same time. So if there's any hesitations, it's because my brain decided we're not doing two things at once today. All right. So my name is Libby McKeighen. I work in the Access Services Department at Washington State University in Pullman. This is a picture of our band, because band is the best always. Cal band girl right here. So I'm always going to support. In our university, the resource sharing is built into Access Services. So half or more of my job is actually in resource sharing. For this, I'm actually going to close this down. Where's my escape? Because I'm going to do a live demo. I'm going to be talking about, yeah, give me where is my mouse? Let me get my mouse found, guys. I'll be right there. Okay, I need to open it. There we go. All my things went away. All right, guys, you're going to have to sit with me logging into things that went away, even though I had pulled them up earlier. So bear with me. So the program that I'm going to be showing you guys is called Scribe, and it is another thing that helps with documentation. And when we think of accessibility in the libraries, oh, it stayed logged in, yay. I think the first thing that we think about is color contrast, making sure that we have formatted things correctly for screen readers. And all of that is vitally, vitally important. But accessibility also means if you need to train somebody, can you make it easy for them to find what they're looking for and easy for them to do what they have to do? So earlier this year, we actually went away from ILLiad and went to using WorldShare exclusively for to do our OCLC. I have to log in, which means I'm going to have to do the third-party login. So bear with me, everybody. And haha, now you can see 3 books I have checked out. Good thing I don't care. So, so actually, but that comes to the good point. I did the wheelchair documentation for lending using Scribe, and it was incredibly, incredibly useful, but I can't show it to you because it would have confidential patron information. My information, I don't care if you know I have a crochet book checked out. You can gladly have that information, but I would never, ever show anybody else's. Okay, so Scribe is really easy. And what it does, and it is AI, but this is what I consider one of the actual beneficial uses of AI. These are all the wheelchair lending flows I've done. I'm going to do one really quickly that shows you how to request a book from our library. Now, I probably wouldn't bother doing that with Scribe because it's really easy, but it's one of the things I can show you without showing confidential information, and it's fast, so we're going with it. This is the free version. You're allowed to have 10 scribes for the free version. So just be aware that that is a limitation right there. You can't download it, but you can save it as a PDF, and it's like magic. So we were able to do that and then print it out and then like have it by the desk for the people that were doing the scanning, so they knew what to do once they had scanned the PDF of whatever article it was. So we're going to do a new scribe. I'm just going to do a new one and show you how it works. So you log in, you do your thing. You want to click on whatever it is you're capturing. So in our case, it's the browser. And then it pops up with this lovely thing. What the heck? It didn't need to on my work computer, guys. Let me just do this, and I don't want to add an extension on a computer that's not mine. Okay, I swear to you, it didn't do this when I did this a few days ago at home. So, but I am logged in as myself on Scribe. Is it?
When you go, hold on, try it again. Does it look like? To see your.
Oh. All right, y'all, give me a second to log into.
So if you, yeah, so I wonder if that's what it was.
And sometimes tech things happen. Yeah. I am not a robot. If I was, I probably wouldn't hurt so much.
Welcome to live television.
Yes. You know what it is? It has my password from like 5 passwords ago. Oh, come on.
Everyone's watching.
Of course. Okay, guys. And I'm sorry because that's not my actual phone number. I didn't realize I would have to do this, guys. I did not have to do this when I prepared this at home. So I'm actually slightly annoyed right now because I can't verify Google because I gave them a fake phone number. Because I know that Google knows basically everything about my life, but they didn't need to know that. So give me a minute, guys. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I can't show you the process, but I'll show you what it looks like. That I can do. All right. So the way you do it when it actually works is that you click on that button that says new, and you click on the thing that says browser, and then it's going to tell you all of the different tabs you have open in your browser, and you pick the one that you want to use. And then it's going to go to the browser that you pick, which would be this one, and it's going to have the scribe thing on the right-hand side in the sidebar. and it will show you that it's capturing as you go because it screen captures everything that you do, which makes it really, really, really easy. And it also, whenever you click, it'll say, click on this, and it will highlight with a little orange dot the area that you did. So start with the library catalog. I searched my book and I hit enter. This is all editable. If I clicked on edit, I can edit this, which means that the very generic words that Scribe uses, because it's AI, you can personalize and make it accurate and appropriate for what you're doing. So for example, if I was doing this to teach faculty or students how to look up a book and request it in the library, I would probably give a few hints in this box, like maybe put the title in parentheses, include the last name of the author or the year, or use the limiters on the left-hand side of the screen. So that's a really good place where you can put that, and you have the image that would show that all. And then I just looked at my book. It tells you what to type in. Obviously, in real life, this would be a generic book, but I just made an example. And then you click Get on Me from other libraries, and we have our lovely orange circle that says, Get it from me from other libraries. Click on Request Item, and it just shows it right there for you. And then I typed cancel this practice NWILL demo, so the poor library wouldn't actually have to send the book that I don't need. Because I already own it in 3 versions, I'm that person. Click send, and then click search it in the upper left corner to go to the home page. Now, what's going to be really hard for me to show you because I can't do it from scratch, you can actually delete these as needed. You just click on it right here, and you can click on the little trash can in the corner. You have more options right here. You can duplicate, copy, upgrade. You can replace the image. If you replace the image, it'll say, where do you want to capture your image? And then you can go back to your website, make sure it's on the right page, capture the image, and it will replace it for you. Believe me, it's actually as easy as it sounds, and I'm sorry I can't actually show that to you. You can move things around if you need to. If you need to inject one, like you realize that you accidentally deleted one, or maybe you get to the end and you realize, oh, I should probably tell them to go back to the home page to do it again. If you click right, oh, it doesn't like me today. It's always that way, isn't it? Live demos are always going to go wrong. But you can add screens. You can duplicate, you can move to a team. If you pay money, you can customize. Don't ask me how, because I don't pay the money for this. But it's really, really useful, and it's enabled us to get excellent documentation for WorldShare that has enabled us to share it not only with our staff and our student employees, but with other staff in our consortium to help out. And that is all I have. So I will shut this down. Are there any questions?
I will be happy to run with the mic. What am I running?
I'm going to start.
Okay.
This is, well, okay. So I have a question. I have a question. So as your co-presenter, because I just talked about making a video,
Yes.
do you think we could upload a video and have it make documentation from the video? Have you read anything about that?
I haven't. My own. I have absolutely no idea. I haven't played around with that. But to be honest, the free version is limiting, but for what we needed, that was all we needed. So I have not even remotely played around with anything like that. We were kind of thinking that the fact that it puts the little orange circle does a lot to replace what a video would do with the clicking, because it shows you on the page exactly what you're looking for. But it also has the words, click on this, So your visual, like your word people can get it one way, your visual people another way. It's always good to have more than one way to say the same thing. So that's one of the things we really liked about it.
And other questions?
This is a roundtable, as well as questions. Feel free to say what you are doing in your libraries around accessibility.
And Dev, I have a question for you at some point too.
I have one from online. What are some things to consider when advocating for accessibility in libraries? How do you handle pushback?
Oh, good idea. Sorry.
And I think that question is for everyone.
We have kind of the opposite of pushback at Washington State. We actually had to do an entire training course on accessibility. It's huge. All departments in the university are, I say being forced, but it's a good thing to do. So we should be welcoming it gladly. So I can't answer that because I've had the opposite experience.
We also haven't particularly had pushback. Whenever I've brought something up, our AUL has been like, yeah, let's try it.
I have another online question. Does the free version of ScreenPal limit the number of videos you can make?
So ScreenPal, as far as I could tell, according to the information, it says unlimited. And it was Loom that has a limit. Loom overall is more limiting, but I think it's the newer of the two programs. And yes, this is technically a roundtable. We just thought we would start off with some things that we had used here, thinking about documentation and experiences that we'd had. I come at it from a educator trainer perspective. And actually, I thought it was great that what I presented on kind of led into Scribe for like making written documentation. I wish Scribe existed when I first started making a lot of documentation. Would save me so much time.
It's so fast, guys, because it does all the hard stuff for you. Dev, I have a question for you. What do you think? So, did you find that dark mode reduced the color contrast to the point where it made it difficult for you to see things?
No. When, let me start over. How difficult it is to see things depends on the version of dark mode you're using. Windows also has something called contrast themes. And when I was playing with the contrast themes, it worked really, really badly with Rapido. And that is what I tried using first after the concussion, and it was awful. Please do not try it if you want to actually be able to work. With all these color filter settings, those I found you can actually work with. The gray invert is the one where you have issues only because you no longer have the colors to tell, oh, is it green or is it gray? Is this available in my library or not? But you can actually see the difference between things. Dark Reader, you can usually see, but then it pops up with a bug every once in a while, and it's like, where is that text that's supposed to be there? In theory, you can contact the people who made the extension and say, here, I found this bug. Will you fix it, please? I think they only actually look into it if it's a popular website, because they probably get a lot of these requests. So my recovery were at a point where I could stand that teal, I would probably use invert. Or if I weren't checking whether things were available so often, I would probably use grayscale invert. But at this point, dark reader is what works for me.
Two more online questions. The first is there an AI-free version of ScreenPal or an option to not use AI if you do use ScreenPal?
I'm trying to think. I don't know. I can't remember if I used ScreenPal AI in my ScreenPal at all. I really can't. I don't know if there is. Honestly, I'm kind of old school in some ways about my creation of things. So I can't remember if right now, like I just used it the other day and I can't remember if ScreenPal has AI even as an option in there. I know what I really loved about it was the fact that I could in fact edit the length on the front and the back. So like if I realized I got interrupted just as I got started, I was like, oh, or at the very end, and I'm like, that's not pretty, or I couldn't find, dare I say it, I can't find the stop record button. How many times have we done that? Like at the end of a Zoom meeting or something. I was like, wait, where did it go? I can edit that out, but I don't think there's AI involved with it.
And sorry, just a quick note for Scribe. It's not generative AI. The AI is just the process that does all of the screen capturing.
Sorry. No, that's awesome. Thanks, Libby. Yeah. Okay. Last question from online. Have you ever used Tango, and has anyone used both, and what are the differences?
I haven't. Have you? Dev, have you?
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, let's open that up to the crowd. This really is, we want it to be collaborative. So if you've done something really great, please raise your hand and tell us.
And we're talking about documentation, accessibility with accessibility office, OCRing, anything.
So I unfortunately don't remember the name, but I know our faculty have worked on a lot of online presentations, and they do something similar. It sounded like Loom, and it was the same, like they did a voiceover and then it did the screen capture. My name's Heather from the University of New Mexico, and we're a Adobe Creative Campus, so we do have access to all of the Adobe Suite stuff, so we can use that. But the other program before we had Adobe was really helpful. So if I if I get that information, I'll be sure to share it out. And I think it might have been free, but maybe not. Anyway, so we do have that. Currently, we transitioned from when I started in ILL about 3 years ago. We just had blocks of text and all the steps, and it was like taped to the counter, like, okay, this is how you do lending, this is how you do borrowing. And then when I started, I was like, oh my God, this is not helpful at all. And so like me and everyone else, we started doing like the screen captures and everything and do all the pictures. And we've been modifying it for these last like 2 years, I think. And so we're just getting better and better. And then now we have student team leads. We have 8 students that work in ILL specifically. And they've offered wonderful suggestions and things of, oh, this would be more helpful if it was this way. And so it's kind of like a lot of trial and error, and like making the text bigger, how Iliad is ridiculously small, and like just really like honing in on what's going to be helpful, making it more succinct and not so difficult. We recently started training our students on how to place holds. And it's been a learning curve for the last couple of weeks because like staff was originally doing that. And so like we're so used to it and we're like, well, that's easy. And then we realized, oh, there's a lot of mistakes happening. So kind of just refining it and just getting that input from our students of what would be helpful and then implementing that. So yeah, a lot of trial and error, but I think we're kind of locking in. And I'm happy to share any of the stuff we've done, opening mail, scanning. I don't know, we haven't done scanning yet. That one still needs to be updated, but we have our borrowing, our lending, and then our student team leads. They have the microform, how to process those. What other stuff do we have? yeah. So it's a lot of fun. I don't know. I enjoy like piecing it all together and doing a lot of screen captures and then circling this here. Yeah, so that's all.
Yeah, talking about paper documentation. So before I started doing videos recently, my print documentation before coming from having my master's of education is teaching English to speakers of other languages. And I learned all about different ways that people learn. And my documentation, I started out when I first got to Vanderbilt. Yes, all the documentation was just what documentation there was all just like piles of 1, 2, 3, and it was text with maybe some pictures with single black and white, or I should say black arrows pointing here, and you didn't know which arrow was for what step. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to go through this, and when I make a picture of something, it's not just a picture. I'm going to go say, click on here, and it's a red heart and a orange star, and it is a blue diamond. And this way, whether you print it off in black and white or it's in color on a computer screen, whatever, when they go to look at it, they're either looking for something red, they're looking for a heart, they're looking for a diamond. And it makes it so that you're looking for not just an arrow, because there could be 3 arrows on that image. And it's a little bit more of engaging of the mind, but also takes a lot of the ambiguity out of the documentation. And I know this was meant to be about accessibility, but really it's documentation accessibility in a lot of ways, and also how to you do your job in a little bit more of an accessible way. But it's just how, sometimes how things work out. Hey, that's life. Sorry. We only have a minute or 2 left. Does anyone else have anything to finish themselves? Okay.
Yeah, just real quick, with documentation, I've used Panopto, which my institution has a subscription to for screencast videos. And I think it's really good for adding captions. It'll do automatic captions that are like 95% accurate and then really easy to edit. And I was just curious if Loom or ScreenPal have good captioning options.
I believe ScreenPal, it doesn't like automatically like put them at the bottom, but it will automatically give you the kind of like with Zoom, you get the AI generated transcript.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember with Loom right now.
Thanks.
And what was the name of it again?
Oh, Panopto?
Oh, somebody else. Okay. Oh, right.
Cool, thank you. One thing I just wanted to remind people to check in about too is make sure to check in like what accessibility requirements for documentation your institution might also have. Like we've been having to make a lot of changes to our documentation recently because of changes coming up to the web content accessibility guidelines. And what's it called? Video documentation is great and it's accessible, but I also know that the web content accessibility guidelines say you have to have reasonable text alternatives to any sort of video. guidelines. So if you're not beholden to those rules, that's like, you're totally good to just use a video documentation. But like, I know for us, we have to do both. We have to have reasonable text alternatives. So just reminding people to check on that for like your specific requirements for stuff. Because the more options we have, better.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I was bringing up, it was great to do a Loom video or whatever for like that quick little document and the fact that, and then I was like, oh wow, Scribe, like backing that up and Scribe being able to make that written document so that I didn't have to spend like the 30 minutes to make the written document on top of the video was like awesome. And I'm gonna pass this off.
Okay, thank you to our presenters. Thank you for attending this session. Please complete the post-session survey in Whova, which you can access from the QR code or the link in the session chat. The link is also in the session description. The NWILL Planning Committee and our presenters appreciate your feedback. If you want to continue the conversation, you can use the chat within the session or the Whova community section. Thank you, everybody.